you're in this. This is every week
Love it.
watching Jeffrey fumble.
You're not fumbling. You're doing great. You've got a rhythm going.
Oh, you're sweet.
There's lots of buttons to press. It's a thing.
I am my own show producer. That's the problem, right?
Yeah, we don't have a producer.
Yeah, we need a producer. All right. I love my keyboard.
Woohoo! I know. I like the clickety clack sounds.
Bro, Dana got me this thing. It's wood grain. It's so cool.
Love
It's
that.
what's the name on it? It's called a AZIO, AZIO.
Ooh,
Retro classic. Yeah.
It's just not the same if you can't hear them click. Click,
right?
click.
And then there's a different type of action you can get. Like you could go old school, like the Apple computers where they're really heavy keys and they're really loud, and it's like you're clack, clack, clack. Like you can get nuts with it. There's a whole subgenre of people that just want specific keyboards. It's absolutely insane.
I love that, and I understand. Those are my soul people. I need one. I've got a brand new Mac here at the office that I'm working out of, plus my laptop. Neither one of them are clickety clack.
I've always been told I'm a geek, and that's accurate. You know, I always think geeks are into science fiction and nerds are always smart, right? But I was at a book signing, and this lady walked by. She wasn't interested in my book or anything, but she ended up asking about it because I was signing a few books. And I told her what I did and everything, and she goes, "Oh, you're like a screenwriting nerd," and I lost it. I laughed so hard, like. That is 100% accurate of who I am. It's like, yes.
I can only talk to you for 30 seconds.
Thank you.
There you go. Thanks.
That label will stick with me for life now. Persons whose name I don't know. Did we know each other? I know. It's like, did we know each other in high school? Because that shade was strong. But all right, I'm going to start us off. We are here, episode 306. I am with my co-host, Christy Lee Lucier. Thanks for being with me.
Hi, guys.
All right. So I watched this film, Dust Bunny, on Amazon Prime. I rented it. I don't know if this had a theatrical release or not.
It did.
It was so crazy good. I texted you, and I was like, check this film out. Did you get a chance to watch it or no? Not yet.
I did not. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but there's a story. So my friends were going to the theater to see it last month, and then that's when I got really sick and I got whatever.
Okay.
And so we missed it seeing in the theater. And then last week I was a guest on another podcast where we do like our top favorites. And there was like 6 of us there. And pretty much everybody had Dust Bunny in their top 3.
Man.
So it's like on the list of I have to watch this. But I would love to hear your thoughts because I heard them talk about it and I want to hear your perspective on it.
This is one of those movies you only see every 3 to 5 years. I mean, how often do you get to see a really good, whimsical film that is absurd? Like it's absurdity, you know? Like I think of Brazil was probably the first absurd film I ever saw, but it was very dark.
Yeah.
There was a Jason Momoa film that came out on Netflix a few years ago where he played an imaginary friend, and I cannot remember the name of it. It was fun, but it was more like an action film.
Yeah.
It had some absurdity to it, but this is great. This is definitely, there's action in this, but it is absurd and it is whimsy and it is adorable, yet there's still action and there's a lot of heart in the film. So, and there's subtextual visualizations everywhere. It's so good, and they play around with, is she an unreliable narrator? Is this imaginary? So if you guys don't know, Dust Bunny is about a little girl who has a creature called the Dust Bunny that lives under her bed and comes out at night and kills anybody in her room. So it's like all the old like little tropes you had when you're a little kid. Don't touch the floor. You know, she hides under the sheets, and there's great visual subtext like her blanket is a bunch of eyeballs, cartoon eyeballs. But if you know your mythology and you know your symbolism,
Yep.
eyes are used to ward off evil and
Yep.
demons. So it doesn't mess with her. Is it not messing with her because of that? Or is it because it adheres to the old tropes of, well, she's under the blanket, I can't touch her.
Yeah.
So I mean, is it even real? Is it part of her imagination? And then she discovers that her neighbor is a hitman and hires him to kill the monster under her bed.
I love it. I love
It's
it.
so cute. It's so adorable. How she discovers it, I won't spoil it for you. It's and there's animals everywhere in the visualizations of the film, just to add to the absurdity level of it. It's so clever. Sigourney Weaver is in it. So definitely check it out. Mad Mickelson just plays the straight man, just like chef's kiss.
Oh, so good. He's
So
so good.
definitely check out Dust Bunny. And then if you can watch it this week, let's chat about it next week. I would love to.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to too, because everybody's like, watch this movie. So next week,
Oh
that's on my
man.
list.
It's special. It's by Brian Fuller, and he's done a lot of Star Trek stuff.
Mhm.
He worked, I want to say he wrote a bunch of shows for Star Trek. Let's see. He wrote Star Trek Discovery, Voyager. He did the old Pushing Daisy shows. So I mean, he's got
Oh,
some.
okay.
Yeah, he helped develop Hannibal. So the guy's got chops. I know Heroes. Do you remember that old show?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
if this guy puts his eye on something, it's probably going to be pretty good. And
Oh, I love
this
that.
was special. So
Yay. Good.
yeah, I would definitely watch it again. Um, did you catch anything this week?
I did not. We didn't get to catch anything this week. We watched a couple of things on streaming that we were trying to catch up with before we did a guest podcast thing. And so we went back and watched a few movies from last year. There was a Jason Statham movie we went back and watched, which I don't care what movie it is. I don't care if it doesn't have a plot. I will watch a Jason Statham movie any day of the week. I do not care. I love his movies so much. Yeah, so we watched Working Man, which came out last year, and they
That
took
the
a
one with
couple
the
others.
bees?
No, that was Beekeeper, which was the year
Oh,
before.
okay, it's in the name. Got it.
It's in the name. And he's got a new one coming out in like this guy's just like pumping them out, but like a new one in 2 weeks. And so
I feel
yeah,
like he plays the same character in this multiverse of Jason Statham's, and then eventually they'll just all culminate together.
and I'm here for it. I take my box office money. I don't care.
I actually like that you brought that up because this really rolls me into some of the industry news I wanted to talk about. A friend of mine has a movie over at AFM. They're shopping around, and one of the notes they told me is that they're having a hard time getting stuff with distributors because names aren't carrying films like they used to.
Yeah.
Like if you remember, like Nick Cage was in everything because he was affordable. They could shoot him for 3 days and then they
Yeah.
could distribute the hell out of the movie. Those days are gone. They're
Yeah.
finding that the actors' prices are too high for the revenue that they generate. So it's getting down to now where distributors are looking for very specific content genres,
Mhm.
almost to the point to where they want to be involved in the script, not as a
Yeah.
producer where they give you money, but as if you have this type of script with that, and that, we are interested. We will be interested in distributing it for you. They might give you a letter, but they of an interest,
Intent.
but they
Yeah.
but they yeah, but and a letter of intent, but they won't be legally bound to that. How crazy is that? The amount of leverage those guys can have now.
Oh, it's absolutely insane. And that's the direction the industry's been going. We've kind of watched it slowly and people really haven't understood, but it's become like a producer system. Like the studio system is producers now. There was one point where it was star led, like you just said, an actor or a big star could drive um,
Yeah,
a movie. Or before that, sometimes it was directors. The director attached to it would
for
drive a
sure.
film, right?
Yeah, definitely
Now,
animated films are like that too.
yeah,
Director
and
heavy, yeah.
now they're not, you know, the star power doesn't really necessarily fit into their checkbox list because everything is data, everything is algorithm, everything is these streamers, like you said, or these producers or distributors, they want something specific because their data says if they
Mm-hmm.
get this kind of piece of content,
You're
they'll get
right.
this many eyeballs on it. So it's gone are the days where it was like, you know, it's a great story and it's a great action star. No, if you don't hit these 10 beats that we need for
Yeah.
this, that's not what we want.
You know, it's funny because this is very similar to how it used to be way back in the day. I don't know if you're familiar with the Canon Group. They did Superman 4, they did Life
Mm,
Force, they
yeah,
did a lot of Delta movies, so like lower budget, but they would go to distributors and say, really, they just had like the title of the film
yeah,
and then maybe a poster that they mocked together, and they said, this is what we're going to do and this is what we have, and then the distributors would be like, well, change this, change that, and we'll give you, we'll go for it. And so that's what they did. They
that's
made a
crazy.
whole career out of that, and they did really well with it. They were always broke because they're always taking money they made and then putting it into the next movie,
Oh
and
yeah,
they peaked at Superman 4 and then they crashed and
yeah,
burned. But
yeah,
it is not that's not new of a thing. It's just that we got used to banking on big star names,
yeah,
but the
hmm
DVD era is dead.
yeah,
We are
exactly.
streaming now. So you're right. It is just about data and what are people watching,
Yep.
and give us that.
Mhm.
Um, so then that really means, like, as writers, we have to have clear concepts. We have to know where we're going. We have to write in a way that you can shoot that film tomorrow, right? You don't have to build a whole world like it's Avatar and Pandora with a $300 million budget. If you
Yeah,
write something within reason that can be shot easily, it makes it so that, distributor would be interested in that. And then if you can be able to take notes from the producer and adapt that script and still not lose your voice as a writer, then you can, find success that way.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a path, and if that's a path that you feel will get you kind of consistent work because you're working and you're writing, so
Yeah,
you're on that road. But like you said, don't necessarily lose your voice because eventually you might get to the point where you write and make the things that you want, but you
for
may just have
sure.
to kind of be in the carousel of these are the writers that really just kind of stick to the
Yeah.
format, you know?
One of the producers I work with goes to the streamers and says, "What are you guys looking for?
Yeah.
What do you guys want?"
Yeah.
And then the streamers will be like, "Well, we are looking for this, this, and this." He goes, "Got it." And then I get a phone call, "Jeffrey, this is the idea. This is what we need. What do you think?" And I'm like, "I'm on it." And then boom, contract signed, write it, make twists and turns, make changes based on producer director notes. Next thing you know, it's shooting. It's going on streaming. It's amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, you have give the people what they want, man.
Yep.
Um, can we dish real quick on some industry gossip?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Have you heard the latest thing with the Duffers and Stranger Things season 5?
Okay. So, spoiler alert, I hadn't until about 2 minutes, 3 minutes ago before we jumped on this and you said
full
something and
full disclosure.
my face was like,
I
what?
blew
And
I blew
then,
her
yeah.
mind. Yeah. I blew her mind. This is all hearsay. There's a documentary out. I haven't had time to watch it yet. There's a documentary out that um, people have watched, and they are suggesting that perhaps the Duffers wrote Stranger Things using ChatGPT. Season 5. Everybody's like, season 5 is so different. Why doesn't it match the tone of the rest of the show? And I guess one of the writers of the show got a divorce, and maybe potentially she was one of the ghostwriters. Like, I don't know. This is stuff
Yeah.
that people are saying. I have
Yeah.
no idea. So it's It's very interesting.
That that
I
is, yeah.
will say, when you're watching season 5, you're like, "Where are all the monsters?"
Mm,
You know?
yeah.
And so it makes you wonder, like, so I'm interested. I'm looking at, like I said, I haven't had to watch it yet. So I did some digging, and the documentary director says, "Hey, um, ChatGPT was open on his computer, but that doesn't mean that he used it to write the season finale. He could have been just using it to look up stuff and doing research." And
Yeah.
I think that's fair game. Everybody has ChatGPT open now, so it's up in the air. I mean, it seems like the documentary director is defending him,
Yeah.
and hopefully they're right, but you know how these things are.
Oh, no, and there's a broad range. There's a broad range from I did some research on ChatGPT because A, B, and C to,
Mhm.
oh, I used ChatGPT to kind of like brainstorm to I did my beat sheet on ChatGPT to full on like AI wrote the scripts. So there's kind of like a big range,
Yeah,
right?
there's a spectrum, yeah.
There's a spectrum. And so it just kind of depends on where it falls in that. And, to an extent, I don't really know too much about the show because I actually don't watch Stranger Things. It was one of the ones that I was like, I'll get to it and then I'll watch it after the finale. But are the Duffers the showrunners as well?
Yeah, yeah, and writer.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because even if like season 5 feels like it's tonally a little different and that kind of thing, that could be a number of things. That could be the fact that when we were in season 3 and 4, again, was however many years ago. And now Netflix has the data and the algorithm, and they know which episodes and which exact scenes people actually went back to watch, or the episodes that got the more streaming views. And so the directive might have been, well, this really needs to be focused on the kids, or we need more about, wrapping up all the relationships and that kind of thing. We need closure on stuff, or we need to focus more on the drama aspect because that's really what everybody likes. And so there's a strong chance that that's kind of what happened, and then it feels a little different. But if your kind of core foundation of Stranger Things is that element of these kids kind of trying to take on this monster thing, and then you lose sight of that, that's, what are we doing here? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Where's the world building? Yeah, I
Hmm.
get it. Can I tell you where I think this potential of his wife being a co-writer and then divorce and then that ruining the writing, where I think some of this could have been seeded from, if it's not true. If
Hmm.
it is true, that's, a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But some of this could have been seeded from, so when I was starting out writing, I really enjoyed a lot of Joss Whedon's work. So
Mm,
Buffy, Firefly,
yeah.
all of that stuff. And one thing I always remembered about him is when they would interview actors about the script, about the work, they would always, the female actors would always say, he could write women so well. And from
Mm,
a man, they were always impressed. And so that inspired me to really try and write women authentically as strong women, not just little princesses or sexy babies, like women that are real people, that have lived real lives, have real strengths and weaknesses,
sure.
speak authentically. So I've been driven to that. Well, after a while, his writing kind of went downhill. His films were doing worse. And it was after his divorce where the claims were that his
Mm.
wife was writing all of those parts.
Yeah, or at least obviously helping contribute to the
Yeah.
perspective there. Yeah.
So I think that could be, one of the origins or seeds. If this is not a truthful thing, that it
Yeah.
could be from that. Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's good to have another set of eyes that you kind of feel you can trust
Oh,
to
for
bring
sure.
some perspective. And if it's your wife because she's of the
She's a
opposite sex
lady.
and yeah, she's a lady and she can help. Yeah, by all means. If she's doing your writing and then you lose the writer, yeah, like
But
you said,
see,
totally different ballgame.
there's a history of men, like, look at Big Eyes, right? There's a
Oh, yeah.
history of men stealing their wives' work
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
making entire careers off of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where you start going, that's where the intrigue comes in. That's where the rumor mill starts, and that's where you start wondering, okay, is this real or not? Because if that is real, then you don't want to be part of that.
No.
Uh, making someone's spouse not get the credit they deserve.
Oh, hands
So,
down. Yeah, for sure. Interesting.
um, have you got any industry news on anything?
I don't have any industry news. I have bad screenwriting advice.
Oh, what do you got?
Yay, let's go for it. Okay.
Okay.
I'm very excited about this one. Well,
Okay.
I don't know. Thoughts. Okay. I heard that vomit drafts are bad. And I wanted to dive into that because I can see perspective from both sides. I think there is some benefit to something like what we technically call a vomit draft, but I think a lot more people are straying away from that now. And
Why?
I
They're
thought that was,
great.
yeah, it's,
What?
the feedback I got was it kind of wastes your time and your energy because pretty much ultimately 95% of your vomit draft is going to go away. And then you don't want to get attached to things in your vomit draft that you're going to have to give up, yada, yada, yada. And I was like,
What?
okay, yeah.
Can I tell you what happens when you don't do a vomit draft?
Mhm.
So you get stuck writing.
Yeah.
I know a guy who wrote a script for years because he wouldn't finish the draft. You keep going backwards,
Mhm.
deleting and rewriting, seeing it
Oh God.
the
The
first
worst.
20 pages. So it's the whole point of the vomit draft is to reach completion, and then the magic is in the rewrite. I hate this advice.
Yeah.
I mean, are there screenwriters out there that are probably like the Nikolai Tesla of our field? And what I mean by this is that, like, the genius thing about Tesla is that he never made a test model of anything.
Mm.
He always made the completed whatever he was doing first because he would run in his mind version after version after version and QA and test it, each time until he had reached perfection in his mind because he's able to visualize it, and then he would sit down and make the thing. Most
Mhm.
people aren't like that.
Yeah,
Is
we're
there a
not
s
Tesla.
Yeah, is there a screenwriter out there that can do that? They can do multiple permutations of a script in their mind until they've hit it perfectly, and it's perfectly written in their mind, and then they just sit down and translate? Yeah, I'm sure there's 1 in a million.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Um, but for the rest of us out there, who have multiple issues, we we sit here and we bang out that first draft so that we know what to fix. So yeah, I don't like this advice at all.
Yeah. I agree with you on the completion aspect because I've even fallen victim to it where I start going backwards and like, okay, something I write later is like, oh, I should probably go back and then readdress that. So this makes sense.
Yeah,
And then you're never just like
no,
get to the end, like get it out
yeah.
and then go from there. I'm not a huge fan of this advice either. Um, I mean, yeah, the whole you're gonna have to learn to kill your baby, so you might as well just do it without having to do the vomit draft. But
I just don't understand. It sounds like they're trying to save themselves emotional pain from having to make the creative decision of cutting something out of the story they love. So instead of having to do that, they'd rather write it all over and over again before they finish the script so they don't
yeah,
feel bad about cutting. Like, that does not track in my mind. Like, why
no,
are you just cut it? Like, it's the
yeah,
mature thing to do.
mhm,
It's okay.
yeah. And your second, like your first draft is never going to be step 2. Like it's never going
Yeah.
to be, okay, this is the second version. Your first draft is basically like your vomit draft. So
Yeah.
you can't because then if you get into that mindset, you think, well, it's already solid enough because I didn't really do a vomit draft. I spent
Oh,
more time
yeah. You're
working through
right.
this and working through that. And it's like, no, it's still going to be your first draft. There's still going to be changes. So
I love
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
it's
love that.
interesting. Mhm.
That leads to an arrogant screenwriter, and I don't think the writer giving that advice realizes that your draft 20 is your producer's draft 1.
Right. Because then once you pass it over, get ready. You're in round 2 of the
Yeah,
box. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that's a key difference. Like, I remember I've done 37 drafts on a script and turned it in knowing that this is their draft 1, And then director's like, I've never had a draft one this great before. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, gee,
Yeah,
thanks.
wow, it's so weird how that happens. So what are the changes you'd like? So yeah, I get it. All right, let me check out, see if we have any screenwriting questions here from the audience or studio audience. All right.
Yay.
Jamasi Entertainment asks, I have a question about the best route to secure a manager, one of my 2026 goals. What do you think? You got any advice?
Ooh, so, that's
A
well, I love
manager.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, not a talent agent.
Not a talent agent, a manager. Oh, this is where I think we've kind of talked about this on the podcast before. Start with step one of doing research. What kind of script are you thinking of sending out? What genre does it fall in? Where do you feel like the best audience would be for it? And then really kind of start digging in and looking to see what manager, or if you see leads where they are kind of prospecting and looking for content that matches yours, do the research on it. And then, I mean, a lot of people say kind of gone are the days of the query,
Yeah.
but I still think there's a benefit to it. So, your query letter is basically kind of your little pitch letter. Just have a solid query letter and then go from there. I mean, it really now, again, like we were saying, your script just kind of really has to fit into a slice of the pie that manager probably is either focused on or is trying to grow. And so they're out asking, okay, what are you looking for? And then they try to go find that script. So
I actually made connections with managers on LinkedIn, just chatting with them about industry stuff when they were posting online
oh,
on
love that.
LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
so we would make comments. I'd be like, "Oh man, it's a great perspective," And then if you show up after a while, they get familiar with you, and then I would, message them. And I mean, I was getting invited to parties in LA with these managers because they knew me so well, and they looked me up and appreciated everything. So that's something to do. But that's from an intent of friendliness and general inquisition, not I want to get in this person's life and use them to win.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
intent absolutely matters. So I would definitely keep that in mind when you are out there and networking with people. And there's lots of managers. So I mean, it's definitely possible. My question to the gentleman asking us is, how many scripts do you have? Because if you
Right.
only have the one script and you meet a manager and you query them, or you pitch it to them and they go, well, I already have something like that, what else do you have? And you have no other scripts.
Yeah.
All of that work was for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Be prepared to have more than one. Somebody once great told me too that kind of almost defines your voice also. That really shows them if you've got multiple pieces of work, and then that kind of showcases the aspect of your writing style and your voice. The more, the better.
Yeah. I'd have at least 3 to 5 scripts ready to go that were really, really great that I knew.
Yeah.
Another person asked, they have scenes that they are not able to write down as a screenplay, and they're wondering if we have any tip. Well, I would suggest the guide for every screenwriter. It's a #1 best-selling book on screenwriting. Check
Yep.
it out.
It's right over your shoulder, by the way. In your
Where is it?
There you
It's
go.
around
Right there.
here. There it is.
Underneath
It's
Grogu.
right there. That beauty right there. Somebody wrote me an email and told me this is legit. They said your book is the perfect book for a screenwriter's first time ever, like their introduction to screenwriting. And I thought that was a really nice comment.
Oh, yeah, I think I mean, it's been helpful for me from the first time I read it still to this day.
Aw. One person, Gary Thomas, says he never uses the term vomit draft. He thinks draft zero is that nicer. I like draft zero. It
I love
sounds
that.
fun. You might have
Yes.
just affected us for life here, Gary.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it. I absolutely love
Yeah.
that.
Draft zero. Don't call it draft -1 though. That would be crazy. All right. I don't see any other screenwriting questions. Is there anything else, Christy?
No, I'm very curious though to find out more on this industry tea about the
Oh my
Duffers.
God.
So I'm going to
I
watch that documentary.
I feel dirty talking about it, but everyone is
Yeah.
discussing it. And when I was thinking about the possibility that, the ex-wife was a writer, and then I think all the way back to Joss Whedon and the history of men
Mm.
stealing credit from their wives, I go, well, we should discuss it.
Yeah. Let's dig further. So I've got a couple movies I'm gonna watch this week, and I'm gonna look into that because I want to come back next week and see if there's more.
Please do. Pull out a binder full of notes for me next week, and let's really pull the lid off this thing and see what's real and what's not.
Yeah, let's dive in, dude.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, y'all.